tonight. Notice I said we, it's not just me, I'm what the culture feeling. Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. No round twos. Let's get it.
I saw this video by Pio's Place where he goes in depth into Kendrick Lamar creating moments, a narrative spun by Drake years and years ago, back at the very beginning of their high-profile beef that culminated in some of the most culturally defining moments in hip-hop of the current decade.
He's giving people like moments, you know, like that verse was a moment to talk about. Are you listening to it now at this point in time? Okay.
That's what's inspired me to make this video. You see, I've been a Kendrick Lamar fan since I started listening to rap music as far back as the 4th grade when I was introduced to it by my older brother. And Drake, while I don't agree with him on really anything at all, well, I agree with him on this. Kendrick Lamar does create moments, and he creates them constantly.
Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
Now, I'm not going to go into the origin story of Kendrick like I normally would. This isn't the opening credits of a Spider-Verse movie. No, this video is about Kendrick's next moment, how we got here, and what it means to the genre. Consider subscribing. It's free, and the bigger that number gets, the better person it makes me, because that's how it works. Like I said, Drake is the one who spun the narrative of Kendrick creating moments, but he spun it in a way that doesn't hold true. He used it as a way to knock Kendrick down, but the truth is, Kendrick's moments last, and now they'll last for history. How did we get here though? It all started back in 2013 when Big Sean released his song Control. The song featured Jay Electronica and none other than Kendrick Lamar. The song seemed as if it was a typical collaboration between some of the upcoming names of the industry, until minute 3, second 20, when Kendrick starts to rap and drops a bomb on the industry.
Tell Flex to drop a bomb on this shit. So many bombs ring the alarm like Vietnam on this shit.
This bomb not only stirred the pot leading to a decade-long beef, but it was also the first of Kendrick's many moments. Following this, Drake and Kendrick entered into what can only be described as a Cold War. Both artists would diss each other over the years while making it clear that the only people who would understand the disses
I don't even like you.
were each other. After Kendrick released his album Damn in 2017, he stuck around for a little bit to do the normal album release stuff. You know, collect rewards, win a Pulitzer Prize, tour around the world, the typical everyday musician things. And then he disappeared. Completely, except for the Black Panther soundtrack, which won him another Grammy because it's incredible. But outside of that, he was all but retired. Also, he's the only hip-hop artist to ever win a Pulitzer Prize. While never explicitly coming out and saying he was retired, he was pretty much gone for almost 5 years with next to nothing expected to release, and fans had completely come to terms with the fact that we weren't getting another album from him. But then he responded to a tweet claiming he was retired, with nothing but a link. We still didn't fully know what was going on at the time, but suddenly a door opened. A door leading fans across the world to nothing other than hope. And then Kendrick returned to put the industry on notice.
I'm smoking on, what's the name tonight? I am the Omega. PG Lane, Rolly Gang, SIE. Don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. 2021 ain't taking no prisoner.
Baby Keem, Kendrick Lamar's cousin who had been steadily growing a strong fan base over the years of Kenny's absence, drops his song Family Ties featuring Kendrick Lamar. And oh boy, you just had to be there for it, because whenever those horns start to play and this song comes on, everybody around you would stop what they were doing and sing every single word. Or 817 words if you're white, like me. This was only the beginning of his return, as he then released his 5th studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Mr. Morale was an incredible work, and it was very clearly not meant to be an album whose sole focus was radio play. I mean, none of Kendrick's albums have ever been solely geared for radio play, but this one was different. The subject matter within the covers is dark and real and goes into trauma, abuse, just everything that will make you uncomfortable to talk about, but that was also the point. We can't avoid these topics altogether because avoidance is compliance. And there are people out there who need to hear that they are not alone in their individual battles. They don't have to suffer in silence. This subject matter didn't stop people from listening to it either, as it was still an incredible success, and it is very easily going to be an album listened to for generations. It sold 295,000 units in the first week, and the tour that followed it set records. Following the release of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, then following the tour, it seemed like Kendrick was back, but we weren't quite sure what was coming next. In fact, I don't think anybody truly expected what was about to unfold.
Motherfuck the big 3, nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
The heavily anticipated album, We Don't Trust You, from Future and Metro Boomin finally happened, and along with this album came a tracklist full of hidden features. When you reach track 6, titled Like That, you come across an amazing song. Through and through, it's great. But then you hear Kendrick's all too familiar voice come on the song, and his verse is a nuke on the industry, specifically a nuke on Drake and J. Cole, who not that long ago had released a collaboration called First Person Shooter, in which they dubbed the Big Three as being Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar. And well, Kendrick didn't really like that. The Cold War was over. Now it's time for a grudge match between the giants of the industry. Now, we all know the story of the beef, but this is where Kendrick gave us even more moments. Mainly, what he dropped in the songs, but also his strategy to win this battle. Drake released push-ups and tailor-made freestyle, showing Kendrick that he wanted the smoke, but even he wasn't ready for what was about to follow. After a couple weeks of antagonization towards Kendrick, we were given Euphoria, a song that took the world by storm. While it was still really just a warning shot, but also a setup for what was about to come. A few days later, he released his own tailor-made freestyle, but his was called 616 in LA, where he's playing mind games with Drake, telling Drake that everyone around him is compromised, including his biggest eater. Kendrick gave us another moment after this.
What top 5 you smoking on, Kendrick? Cause my top 5 is Drake, 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 Drake. If we broke it off, then you know it wasn't painless.
Drake responds with Family Matters, which was supposed to be his win condition, but Kendrick, only a few minutes after Drake's release, released his own family-related song called Meet the Grahams, in which he exposes Drake on every level, attacking him and his family and dropping bombs that, while they may or may not be true, took all the heat out of Drake's release and completely brick-walled his momentum.
A fucking dead?
He wasn't done yet either, because only a day later, Kendrick dropped Not Like Us, which has gone on to become one of hip-hop's biggest songs ever, breaking numerous records held by Drake, becoming an anthem for months, and proving that yes, he is what the culture's feeling. Now that the beef was decisively won by Kendrick, it was time for him to give us another moment to write in the history books. Kendrick put together a show at the Kia Forum called The Pop-Out, and excitement quickly grew as everyone was riding the highs of the beef still and wondered what was in store. And what happened next? Well, I don't think we'll ever see anything like that ever again. The Pop-Out was insane, and it was a total celebration of the West Coast, bringing out fan favorites from West Coast hip-hop history, while also giving spotlight to some lesser-known artists. Once Kendrick came out, it was the cherry on top, and while it was a victory lap for him, ending the show by playing Not Like Us 5 times in a row, he gave us the true moment for history. He brought out the Pyru Bloods and Crips from the LA area, two rival gangs who had been feuding relentlessly for years and years and years, uniting everyone on stage, showing everyone, the ones who fell victim to the endless violence growing up, the ones who are dealing with it in the current day, and the young kids, that there's good that can come from everything. This was what everything had led to: unification of a divided culture. But you can see it in the title and thumbnail that this isn't where the video ends. That's because about 3 weeks ago, Kendrick announced a performance like nothing we've ever seen. Kendrick Lamar is headlining the Super Bowl halftime show.
Meet me in New Orleans.
And yes, we have already seen Kendrick perform at the Super Bowl alongside Dre, Snoop, M, 50 Cent, and Mary J. Blige, but this is where the history is being made. No rapper has ever headlined the Super Bowl as a solo act. There has been some drama from this, so yes, Kendrick is already writing history again, but who knows if the drama and criticism from this announcement will lead to him shocking everyone once again. I'm talking about the drama from people being mad that Lil Wayne isn't performing since the Super Bowl is in New Orleans.
It broke me.
But who knows what can happen from here on out. Kendrick is showing us that he always has something to come next. This halftime show announcement is a big step forward for the genre as a whole. While being the most popular genre for years now, it was still heavily criticized by the mainstream media because of the vulgarity of some of the music released. But that's the beauty of hip-hop. No other medium of music is as real and forthcoming about the struggles of an entire demographic as this one is. As for now, what's next is the Super Bowl, another chapter in the history books of hip-hop that's had Kendrick writing it for a while now.